it's Brenda Quintana, and today I'm going to show you how to make a little Hershey's Nugget holder that matches my birthday card from yesterday. And we will be using the happy dies that I used yesterday as well, the same bundle, so that we're kind of sharing the same supplies as yesterday to make everything a little bit easier. Now, this little nugget holder is this little guy right here. Let me see if I can get it so there's not a lot of glare here. So it holds 4 Hershey's Nuggets, and it's a little slider box. I'm going to show you the slider part when I switch my cameras because I don't want all the little nuggets to fall out because I'm holding it on its side. But it's really cute, and remember the card that I had yesterday. So they kind of go together, and so make a cute little birthday gift. You can drop off on someone's doorstep or in person if you will, but just kind of a really fun thing. I just really love the happy dies. When I saw them in the catalog, I just thought they were great, and I'm so glad that I've been able to do some cute things with them. So, oh, and yes, project sheets. My email list subscribers love my project sheets, and I will have one. I just created it today. It has both the card and the nugget holder on one sheet, so it's easy peasy. So it's just a quick reference guide for you. If you want to know how to get on my email list, just go down below in the description of this video, and there is a link to click on, and you just subscribe. It's free, and then you can get project sheets to your inbox. I always send them out on Saturdays after I finish my tutorial. I go through and sometimes I tweak things a little bit because when I make a project the first time, I'm making it kind of in a different way, haphazard, piecemeal, and I don't do the same flow as I do as when I do the tutorial. So this allows me to make those tweaks and changes if I need to, or if I made a mistake before I send it out to you. So that's why I like to send them out on 2 different days, just to allow for that. So tomorrow, look for that in your inbox if you're an email list subscriber. And of course, if you don't want to subscribe to my email list, that's fine. You can watch this video and copy down my instructions and then just work it on your own. That's absolutely fine. It's just a nice way for my email list subscribers to get a PDF that they can print out or save on their computer and use on their a different device to make it easier for themselves. Okay, I am going to switch cameras and I'm going to pop over and show you how to make this. All right, so let's look at this little box right here. So it just is a little slider box, okay? And so here's the cover. You can kind of see how it's constructed. And the ribbon kind of just sits on here loosely. There's 4 little wrapped Hershey's Nuggets inside here. Let me take these out. And then on the inside, I have stamped happy birthday, just, you know, a cute little message for the inside as well. So it kind of becomes, you know, just a little surprise message on the inside, or you can write whatever message you want on the inside too. You don't have to do what I did, but just kind of easy peasy stamping for the inside. And then these little nuggets, they fit just really perfectly and snugly in there. And then this little tray just slides into here like that. It's kind of neat. There's no window sheet or anything, but the happy creates kind of a window. You can see through the nuggets, see through to the nuggets. And so that kind of makes it unique and special, a little different than other things that we may have seen in the past. And let me just pop out these dies right here. This is what makes it happen, this happy piece. This die does not cut on the bottom, so you can have a piece however long you want and put the happy on there, and it just cuts the happy and kind of creates a window right here. So this is really kind of a unique die that is different from just using an alphabet die. You couldn't do this with just an alphabet die, so this is kind of cool. And I'm also using the So Much Happy stamp sets. So this is a bundle. You can buy both things separately, but if you buy the So Much Happy stamp set and the happy dies together, you can save 10%. So that's always a neat thing. All right, let me set this aside, and here's my project sheet that I'll be sending out tomorrow after I do some checking to make sure everything's right. And I'm going to try and follow along as much as possible on my project sheet so that it's logical for you when you recreate it. Let me set this aside for a moment, and we're going to bring in this piece, my Simply Scored scoring board. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the little base going, the little tray that holds the nuggets. And so I've got a piece of cardstock right here, and this piece measures 4 7/8 by 2 3/8. 4 7/8 by 2 3/8. And we're going to score this piece at the 1/2 inch mark on all 4 sides. So let's just do that. 1/2 inch here, turn, 1/2 inch there, 1/2 inch, turn, and 1/2 inch. Okay, set my scoring board aside, and let me grab some scissors. Oh, and I have this in order. I'm going to just set my scissors and bone folder aside for a second. So what I want to do, like for this piece, this center piece, I want to stamp happy birthday, and I also want to stamp the balloons right now because it's flat. So let me do that. I'm going to use Misty Moonlight ink, and I'm using my happy and my birthday. So first of all, let's stamp happy, and let me just put that right about here, and the birthday I'm going to do right underneath, like that. And then I want to stamp the balloons. And please, if you have any questions while I'm doing this, whether I'm live or recording, please post your questions, and if I'm on the live version, I will go and actually answer them before I leave the video so I can get them answered for you. So I'm using here, this is Highland Heather, and I just realized I didn't put this ink pad on here on my supply list, so I'm going to need to add that. So I'm just inking this up. I'm going to stamp it once, full strength, lift it off, and then stamp it once as a stamped off image. So that makes it really easy. You get 2 different colors of purple when you stamp that off. So very, very simple stamping that I'm doing right there. So now I want to fold this inward on all 4 sides. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and just fold all of these score lines. All right, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to come here on both of the short ends, and I'm going to create tabs. So I'm going to cut along the score lines just to the first score intersection. And to create tabs, sometimes it's nice to angle cut the ends. So I'm going to do that too, because sometimes just because of the way you score it, this sticks up a little bit more. So it's nice if you can angle cut this so that when you bring these together, the tabs are the same height as your end piece. Sometimes if you don't cut them, they'll be just a little bit higher than the end piece. So it just kind of helps everything look nicer. So I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to come through and just cut up to the first score intersection like that. And little angle cuts for these little tabs. Scoot those little pieces out of the way. And then we're going to put Tombow, or whatever adhesive you like to use. Oh, mine's a little clogged. Let's see if I can get it going. Oh, there we go. That's too much now. So just a little bit on all 4 corners. Let's just glue it. Okay, so I always put the Tombow on all 4 corners first, but then I have to be careful not to stick my fingers in it. So if you're not one to be careful, then I would just do it one at a time. So I'm going to hold each of these little tabs as I glue them together. You want to make sure that that score line matches up with the end of your tab right there, or the end of the piece. And then just bring this in just a little bit. We're going to fold these to the inside. And I'm kind of doing two at the same time right now, holding those two end tabs together. And you can see I folded my happy birthday message to the inside. So that is the base piece. Let me set that aside for a moment. And now we're going to create the slider cover. So again, I'm using thick Whisper White. I don't know if I mentioned that I'm using thick Whisper White rather than regular Whisper White. So now I have a piece that is 4 inches by 4 3/8 inches. And I'm going to put the longer side, the 4 3/8 inch side, up at the top right here. And I'll score this piece at the 1/2 inch mark, at the 2 inch mark, at the 2 1/2 inch mark, and the 3 7/8 inch mark. All right, so now I want to just have you take note. There's 2 big sections, but if you look closely, one of the big sections is bigger than the other. And that is where we're going to cut the happy on this piece. There's the smaller piece is going to be the bottom, and the slightly bigger segment, slightly wider, that's where the happy will be. So let me grab my Big Shot, my die cutting machine, and I'm going to place this on here, just keeping in mind that my wider segment's up top here. And let me grab my happy, and I'm going to put this right along here. I do want my happy to be slightly more towards the right because I want to have a little space here to tie some ribbon around. If you're not tying any ribbon, then you can center the happy on the segment. So I think that looks good. I would just want it centered in between the segments so that it looks straight. And then I'm going to run this through. All right, let's take a look. Oh, it's looking good. Let me take these little pieces off. This little die really is very easy to get the pieces out of. And then just lift this up and look at how nice that looks. Okay, so now before we fold this along the score lines, I want to stamp birthday down here because it's happy birthday. So I'll bring in my little birthday stamp again and my Misty Moonlight ink. So this one is barely fits on the skinny segment. So you're just going to have to try and center it as best you can so that it fits. The Y might be right kind of on the edge, but it should fit for the most part. Close that up. And now we're going to fold this along the score line. So you just need to be a little bit careful on these 2 that are surrounding the happy, because sometimes this gets depressed a little bit with the die cutting. It's squished a little bit. So we just want to be really careful that we're folding along the actual score lines. So I'm going to lay the piece down and kind of fold up like this, because that way the delicate words are, the delicate letters are down here on here, rather than me folding up and then accidentally squishing the letters while I'm folding. So I'll just take my bone folder and fold along there. And then I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm going to leave the happy facing down and fold up so I don't hurt my letters or squish them or scrunch them in any way. Okay. And then I can do the rest. The next two should be easier. And then finally this one. All right, so now I can take some Tombow and put it on here. And I'm going to fold this over and just bring these two together. And make sure that it's straight. Should overlap pretty nicely. Okay. So you can see how the cover is coming together. Just making sure that I am doing everything correctly. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. So we've got this piece and this piece. Let's set them aside while I wrap the nuggets. And I just realized I left my nuggets across the room, so let me go get them. Always have to forget one thing across the room, right? Forget the chocolate. So I need 4 Hershey's Nuggets. So let's crop those. And then I'm going to need 4 pieces of the designer series paper that I used for the card. And this is the Playing with Patterns paper. And I have 4 little pieces here, and they all measure 3 inches by 1 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, this is our new Stampin' Seal. So I need to just kind of run a little bit along each of the ends. I'm still learning how to use this. Okay, it's working fine. They say with this one, you just need to go slow. Okay, to go slow and lift off like that. All right, so now I'm just going to wrap each nugget. My adhesive is on one end, so I'm going to wrap the opposite end, opposite the adhesive around, and then just wrap them each one at a time. I love wrapping nuggets. They can look so pretty with designer series paper, and this is just really, really easy. It makes it look like really fancy chocolate, right? And you know, nuggets are nice too because they come in different flavors. So if you don't like or want the regular milk chocolate kind, there's dark chocolate, there's some with nuts in them. I think there's ones with caramel, and I think they also make them for different holidays. So you can find different nuggets for different occasions. So I've just kind of got those all wrapped up. Don't they look pretty? Okay, and so let's bring in our little box. Let's pop those inside there. They just fit in just really perfectly. And then we'll slide in this piece like that. And then we'll just take a little bit of, this is Misty Moonlight ribbon. Grab some scissors, ribbon cutting scissors. And I just kind of like to wrap it around and like leave just a little bit extra so that I have a bit to tie with. Oh, and I've been using my little locking tweezers too. So let's just go ahead and do that first knot. I don't want to tie this super tight because if you tie it tight, then you're going to make one end of the box a little too tight. So you just want to do kind of like a loose knot, and just, you know, so that you're not cinching the end. You just want to make it tight enough so that it's on top of there and it doesn't slide off too easily, but you don't want it to like really tighten that end of the box. Okay, so then you just go ahead and snip off the ribbon ends. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And there is your little box. And it matches the card, which is, I don't know if you watched my video yesterday, but this card opens like this. So the hinge is up at the top. So these two really look nice together. And don't worry, you don't have to necessarily make it in this color. There are other papers. So I did this one, I started doing this with a different paper. This one is the Flowers for Every Season paper, but you can see how you could do this with different patterns of paper. It's very easy to switch these cards and nuggets out to a different pattern of paper because really I've used thick whisper white as the base. And so the color comes from the paper and the ink that you choose. There is 5 colors of the new ink color ribbon. If you like this ribbon, it ties really nicely. We have Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, and Cinnamon Cider. So we've got 5 different colors of this ribbon. And then this is a different pattern from this paper here. And then you can choose, there's a lot of floral patterns in the Flowers for Every Season paper, but there's also some geometric patterns. So if you want a more geometric looking birthday cake card, you can do that. So lots of different options for this, and I think it just looks so cute, doesn't it? All right, let me pop back over here. Hey, all right, let me see if there's any questions or anything. Good morning, everyone who's joined me. I'm so glad you're here. Amy says my top is cute. You know what? This was from, I think this was from my very first Stampin' Up convention that I went to. I think we called them conventions at the time. We've had different names since, but it's still one of my favorite shirts. I think it was from that. Or maybe not. I'm not sure. It's been, it's amazing to me how many years have passed. So this one, I kind of save my Stampin' Up shirts. I don't wear them too often because I don't want to ruin them. They're so special to me, right? We don't have very much Stampin' Up logo wear, so even with all the trips that I've been on, we just don't have a ton of it. So whenever I have one, I just like treat it like gold because they're just so hard to get. Okay, maybe I should just wear them more, right? We always save things for special occasions and we never wear them. So um, Cindy says that she loves that I keep giving her Hershey's treat ideas. You know what? Hershey's has a lot of good sized chocolate at a reasonable price. That just is really good to build stuff around. So kudos to Hershey's for that. And I like the way the company began. I think I've talked about the Hershey story before. You can go look it up. But yeah, it was started by I don't know if they were perfect, but they did some good things. So, I guess no one's perfect either, right? So, but some of the things that they did for Hershey, Pennsylvania, and for the kids in that area were wonderful. So I love that about them. Okay, let me just keep reading. Cindy says she wraps her chocolate while watching TV. Yeah, that probably wouldn't be a good idea for me. I'd be like eating the chocolate while wrapping it, right? So, okay. All right. Well, I think I covered, I don't see any questions, and thank you for all your comments, and I really appreciate them. It's so nice to have a little bit of feedback while I'm doing this. And so I look for my project sheet tomorrow. If you need any of the supplies that I used today, please pop on over to my blog. The link is down below, and there's a supply list there that you can click on that takes you to the store. You can have a look. There's a description for every product that tells you more about it. And if you have any questions, I have contact information down below. You can contact me directly or just pop it in a comment and I'll answer it there as well. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you back here next week. And actually, next week I am doing my BOGO sale. If you are on my email list, you will find out more about my BOGO sale in one of the emails that I'm sending out. All right. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.